start medical school, you are literally just thrown straight into it. They really do not give you much guidance at all. So I thought I'd make a video about what exams I sit as a medical student to give you some sort of insight into what exams you can expect to be taken as well. So if that's something you're interested, please stick around to watch. And if you're new here, my name's Amelia. I am a second year medical student. I'm not going to waffle on too much. I'm going to try and keep this video as short and sweet as possible. The one thing I did want to mention just very quickly is that medical schools are slightly different in the way they examine. So the actual exams might vary between medical schools, but the content they're examining is going to be similar. For example, everyone has to learn anatomy, everyone has to be tested on anatomy. All I'm saying is you might not sit the exact same exams as me, but hopefully that'll give you an indication on the exams that you are likely to be sitting. You could sit a very similar exam, it's just called something different. So just have that in mind throughout this video, and obviously you need to refer back to your medical school as well. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So the first one I'm going to mention is an OSCE, and that is a pretty standard one across all medical schools in the UK. So OSCE stands for Objective Structural Clinical Examination. If you're not sure about what an OSCE is, it's basically what a doctor does. So essentially in your OSCE, you're going to be speaking to a patient, gathering information by taking a history, doing examinations, and then in your later years, coming up with a conclusion and a differential diagnosis. So that is essentially what an OSCE is. An OSCE does in fact use simulated patients. These are fake patients, but it does feel very real. But an OSLR is when they use a real patient. So you will be sitting OSCEs and OSLRs throughout your medical school journey. And just to confirm the difference, an OSCE uses a fake patient and an OSLR uses a real patient. The OSCE will have multiple stations and you rotate around the different stations, and each station has a different scenario, a different patient with a different problem. So that is an OSCE. Hopefully that is clear and I've explained that okay. I don't know if I have, but fingers crossed. The next exams I sit are 2 ALS written papers. So ALS stands for Applied Life Sciences, and this is basically the exam that we do based around all the science content. So pathophysiology, so how the functioning of the body runs, histology, so like the cellular level of the body, embryology, how things develop in the body, and that is where we are examined on the science side of medical school. So in medical school, most exam questions are multiple choice. Don't be deceived by this because it actually is more difficult than it sounds, even though the answer is right in front of you. But we have 2 styles of multiple choice. So we have an MCQ, which is multiple choice questions, and that's between 4 and 5 answers that you have. So you've got, it's like the question, then a selection of 4 or 5 answers to choose from. And then you've got EMQs, which are extended multiple choice questions, and that is where you've got 10 answers to choose from rather than 4 or 5. And at my medical school, we sit 2 of those written papers. The next style of exam we have at my medical school is H&S written papers. That stands for Health and Society. If you're not sure what Health and Society is, it's basically taking into consideration and understanding the differences in health across different socioeconomic backgrounds or different genders, different cultures, different races, and how health varies across those different groups. So our Health and Society exam is split into 2 halves. We have the first half, which is MCQ, so the multiple choice questions again, where we have 4 or 5 answers, and then the second half is written, so we have to physically type out the answers ourselves. No multiple choices, no answers there, you have to remember it and type out the answer yourself. So that is how Health and Society is examined at my medical school. 4th exam that I sit is the Anatomy Spotter. So anatomy will be examined specific to the medical school and depending on how it is taught at the medical school. So at my medical school, we are taught anatomy through prosections. So we go into the lab and we look at prosections, and we need to be able to identify the different structures on the prosection. So when we sit our exam, we do the same. We go into the lab and they'll put pins in different structures, and we have an iPad with the multiple choice questions again. So it's an MCQ again, 4 or 5 answers. We have an iPad with the multiple choices, the choices of the answers, and then we obviously have to choose the correct one based off what structure it is. I know anatomy is one of the exams that varies the most across different medical schools. I know some medical schools have anatomy incorporated into the science exams. Some medical schools you have to type out the structure. So it's very different, definitely something to research, but at my medical school it's through prosection and we we actually go into the lab and have to be able to visually identify the structure. The next form of examination we have is the SSIP. So I did explain this in another video a few weeks ago, but basically part of the GMC's criteria for medical students to graduate as doctors is that they have to have completed some sort of research. Obviously, research is a very, very big part of medicine, so they like you to have some sort of research experience behind you. So at my medical school, we have to complete an SSIP project every single year, and although this isn't a specific exam, we have to complete this in order to progress into the next year. So we get to choose a topic from a list every single year that we'll do research around. How the research is done is dependent on which topic you choose, so I can't really tell you exactly how, like, what we do in the research, because it's very different depending on what topic you choose. But I know that every medical school you have to do some sort of research. At my medical school, like, the exam part, which like isn't an exam but the pass or fail part to progress into the next year, is through an essay. So we have to write an essay around research every single year, and we have to pass it in order to progress into the next academic year. The last exam that I sit at my medical school, number 6, is the information skills exam. So a very, very important part of being a doctor is being able to gather information around subjects that you're unsure of through clinical trials, through randomized control trials, meta-analysis. You have to be able to kind of use different trials and information and websites that are trusted to be able to find an answer to things you don't know. That is a very, very important part of being a doctor, being able to gather information reliably and answer questions. And that is what we're examining on, basically. So we, at my medical school, we have a 10 to 15 minute exam, which is basically doing what I've just said. Like, we have to literally like input stuff into the computer and gather information. So that is another exam we have to sit. Yeah, I hope that's helpful. Hopefully it has given you an insight into kind of what type of exams you might sit. They might vary a little bit, but as I said at the start of the video, everyone has to be examined on anatomy, everyone has to be examined on the science. So thank you so much for watching. As I said, I really do hope it's been helpful. Like, if not, I apologise. I hope I've not wasted your time. If you have enjoyed this video and you have found it helpful, I would really love it if you would like and comment down below and subscribe to my channel. Thank you once again for watching. I am off to the library now to finish the content that I am behind on, so hopefully your evening is going to be better than mine. But anyway, with that being said, thank you so much for watching once again. Last time I'll say it, and I'll see you in the next one.